Hey guys, reason why I'm making this video is because I saw I saw this video from I think unsolicited advice. I think is the name. Unsolicited advice. Yeah, unsolicited advice. He made a video on Nietzsche, and he's like talking about why Nietzsche hated weak people or hated weakness and all that. And while I didn't like watch the entire video, because like my brain was braining, it got me thinking like what like I don't know what constitutes as weakness. What is weakness, right? Like is like being physically weak weakness? Is like mentally weak weakness? Willfully weak weakness, if that makes sense. Like if your will is weak, does that make you completely weak? Is that a bad thing? So yeah, I just wanted to like I don't know. I wanted to talk about that a little bit because like one, like what dictates what weakness is, and like two, is weakness necessarily a bad thing? Because I think it can be a bad and good thing at the same time. It depends. Um, well, good with an asterisk. Good and bad with an asterisk. That's what I'm going with. There's good and bad in weakness, I think. But is it necessarily good or bad is what I'm trying to figure out. Because I don't think being weak is necessarily a bad thing. Like, I don't know. You could be weak. I don't know. Like, you could have. You could be weak physically. Let's start like with the physical stuff, right? So you could be weak physically, right, but still make it as a person, if that makes sense. Like you can still get a job, like even though you probably couldn't get like physical jobs, right? Like physical labor or something like that. Sorry, there's something in my hair. Um, Even though you can get like maybe you can get like physical jobs or something like that, you can still get a job, right? And hypothetically, you could still make it to like being like a millionaire or billionaire. I don't think that really matters much on physical strength. I think physical strength only really matters if you're, I don't know, like if you're a firefighter or something, right? Or you're going into wrestling or I don't know, like boxing or something like that, like MMA or some UFC. I think that's when physical strength matters. Or if like you're on a farm, though I don't know if that on a farm to an extent. I don't think you need to be super strong to be working on a farm. Takes strength for sure, but I don't think it's like you're about to beat someone up with that strength. Oh shoot, you're about to beat someone up with said strength. I don't think that's necessarily like you're not training yourself to be strong, is what I'm saying. But yeah, I don't think like being physically weak or being physically strong is a good or bad thing. There's good parts of it and there's bad parts of it for sure, but there's nothing that deems it really like that really just makes it like good, like boom, it's good, and then boom, it's bad, or something like that. It doesn't make anything certainly good or certainly bad. That's what I'm trying to make it. There's nothing about it that makes it certainly good or certainly bad. And then there's mental strength, and really, like I think mental strength is kind of in the same boat, almost. I think mental strength is really, if you're mentally weak, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And this isn't like mentally weak like you have like a mental disorder or something like that. Or like you're super susceptible. Fucking that word. Wow, I really can't say that. Susceptible to like I don't know, depression or something, or some type of like really mental disorder. I mean like mentally weak, like you can't really think for yourself, or like you have to go to other people to validate what you think. And I don't think that's necessarily bad. Bad for you, maybe, like bad for the person who is in that circumstance. Probably, yeah, you could argue that, but I don't think that makes it certainly bad or certainly good either. because I think there's some good parts of it, right? Because if you, I think everyone needs some sort of clarification or validation on something, right? So to that extent, it's really not bad at all. That's pretty good actually, because you need to know stuff. You need to actually prepare yourself for, I don't know, something, right? Like if you're gonna, like, I don't know, you're gonna travel somewhere like Greece or something. It's good to look online or just look around to the people who have gone, right? And be like, okay, what do I need to do for this? Or is this okay? Or I heard about this and people are really saying this is good. And if they agree with that and they're saying, oh yeah, that thing's good, then I think you're fine, right? But I think it really gets bad when you're just going to just one group of people. If you're going to one group of people for one thing, and you're bound to hear the same thing over and over again, and it becomes this sort of loop, right? And I think like if you're mentally weak, and not weak like as in, like I said, like you have like a fucking disorder or something messed up with your brain. I mean, like, you really depend on others to help you make an opinion, or to help strengthen or validate your own opinion. That's like what I think is mentally weak, at least to me, in my opinion. If you're mentally weak like that, you're more susceptible to be in that sort of echo chamber, this sort of loophole that is just running over and over and over again. And that can be a good thing in some ways. Like, it could help you. You can feel good about it for sure. Like, it helps you feel good. You'll feel better about yourself at the end of the day, pretty much. Like, yeah, that's how things are. You'll have some sort of clarification as well. It'll be like, yes, this is it. This is what I was looking for. I like this. This is what I thought the whole time, kind of thing. It becomes that. And yeah, I don't think that's really the worst thing, but there's this thing that Nietzsche said, that it becomes to a point where it's like dishonest, right? And like, and he didn't really say it, but like, right? At least I don't think so. I haven't read much of Nietzsche's stuff, right? But I'm just doing this from what I heard in the video, right? So, so there was this guy who liked this girl that Nietzsche wrote about, and this is from the Unsolicited Advice video. And I forgot what was said about it. Basically, he ended up lying to himself, all right? And he kept on saying well, yeah, he just ended up lying to himself. I'm not remembering very well of what he said or what the book said. But he ends up lying to himself. And that dishonesty is what Nietzsche thought was weak. The point where you have to lie to yourself instead of face the truth. That's like weakness to him. And I think that would count as being mentally weak, but also like willfully weak. Like your will, you the person, you are weak. Like your soul, basically. I think that's different from mental weakness. To clarify, right? Because like will, if you lose your will, or if you're weak-willed, you basically have all the you all right, here's how I'm gonna put it. It's very easy for you to give up on yourself. That's how I think it is. If you're weak-willed, it's very easy for you to give up on yourself. And sometimes, if you're too strong-willed, or like you have too much will, right? You believe in yourself too much, then it becomes ego. In that case, it becomes really bad, right? But bad for yourself. And I think the opposite way, if you're too weak-willed, it's also bad for you, because you're going to be like giving up on yourself or doing this, being hard on yourself the whole time. And sometimes, or even most of the time, it just won't even be that deep. It's just like, I don't know, like you're beating yourself up for nothing. or you're putting yourself up for nothing, right? You're making yourself to be this big person or this really small person that you really aren't. You aren't supposed to be, or you really aren't at this moment. You're not really. It's the biggest person in the world, or like the smallest person in the world. And I mean that in like hyperbole. You know what I mean. But yeah, but I don't think being weak-willed, like, or having weakness in your will is necessarily the worst thing, or necessarily a bad thing, or having, strength in your will, strength in the belief of yourself, right? I don't think that's a bad thing. And the reason why I don't think it's a bad thing, and I think it could help, is, let's say you're doing really bad at your job or something, right? And you're doing bad, but you don't want to say anything about it. This is like the dishonesty part, right? So you're not doing good, but you put on the false pretense that you're doing really good. So you try to have that strength, and that strength is really backfiring on you. This is the part where it's like ego, right? The ego part, the having too much strength in yourself and the belief of yourself, it's a bad thing. It'll drag you down in the long run, right? So yeah, you're having this like belief in yourself, even though you're failing, and you have it so much that you don't see why you're failing, until someone tells you like straight up that you're not doing well, and then at that point, boom, it all crashes down on you, and then you become so bad that it's like, then you don't believe in yourself at all. While if you're weak-willed, or if you have some weakness in your will, right, you can see that you're not doing a good job, and that's not a bad thing, right? If you're not doing a good job, that's not a bad thing. You just need to do something that helps you get better, right? So you have to pull yourself up, not put yourself up, like not have yourself right here, and I have a box of pretzels, don't ask, and putting yourself up here, but it's more like you're right here and you're climbing back up to go here. You're not here immediately, but you're climbing yourself back up to where position where you want to be, instead of saying, oh, I'm at this position, oh, I belong there, or something like that. It's more like I need to work to get up there. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, so if you have some weakness in your will, and you're doing bad, it's up to you to be like, okay, I'm doing bad, let me fix this. Or I'm doing so bad that I don't think this place would be the best for me, but if I talk to someone about it, then I could probably figure some things out with that person. And this is for like a job. For school, it would probably be different, right? Well, I mean, kind of. Like if you're failing in a class, right? It would be different, because then it's just like, okay, now I just have to talk to someone, or I have to get some tutoring or something like that, right? While with a job, it's just like, it's more of a negotiation thing. But yeah, at that point, it's not bad at that point. It's something that's actually will do you some good. Or if let's do it in the case of where you're supposed to be strong, like like you're supposed to have strong will, right? In a place where you have to have a strong will, right? Let's say your house catches on fire or something like that, or let's say your oven is on fire. Someone who's weak-willed, or someone who's like at that point of like really weak will, would be like, I don't think I can put out this fire. I think I should let someone else handle this, or it would be pointless to put out this fire since it's already spreading everywhere. But like, if you put yourself up to have some will, or to believe in yourself a little bit, then you can be like, okay, I need to put out this fire. And I think that's how most people would work, right? It's like, okay, this is what I need to do. Let's go, like, get the hose, boom, water, out. Or if you're having some weakness, like you don't think you can put out the fire, right? Like if your house catches on fire, or something like that, then you're like, okay, I know I can't do this, but there are people who can do this, so let me just call them and hit them up, or something like that, right? And then they come over, and then they do what they need to, like the firefighters. So that's not necessarily. It's not good that your house burnt down. It's not good that your oven, uh, like fucking flamed up, turned on fire, just like straight up flame on, like from the fucking Fantastic Four or something like that, right? But it's good that you didn't just let it happen, right? It's good that you didn't let your entire house burn down, right? You at least saved some things, or you at least stopped the fire from spreading even further. Uh, so yeah, and I think even at a deeper level, some weakness in like whatever strength or whatever it is that weakness can constitute, like like in physical like weakness, mental weakness, or weakness in your will, weakness and like you don't believe in yourself. Sometimes that can be helpful and sometimes it can't be helpful, so it's not necessarily bad or good, but there's enough to a point where it can be good, but if there's too much it can be bad for you. I think that's where I'm getting at. If there should be enough to where you should know that you're doing not doing good or you're doing bad, but not so much that it's like I'm not doing bad and I'm not going to do anything. Well, I'm doing bad and I'm not going to do anything about it. Or if you believe in yourself so much that you're like I'm not doing bad at all. I don't know what this is. It's like sitting down in your house while it's like actively burning, right? Actively on fire. Uh, then you're like by yourself, being like, what? Nah, I'll live. There's totally not. My room is all on fire. That's totally not happening right now. Or maybe it is happening. You know it's happening, but you're like, I'll live through it. It's nothing. It's nothing. I've been through worse. Then it's like, yeah, you're doing too much. Uh, and yeah, that's how I think about like weakness and kind of strength. I know I talk more about weakness than strength. Strength is kind of a different issue for me, I think. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what has been on my mind. I know I've been like stuttering and shit for like the past how many minutes? Like 18 minutes. And I know this has kind of been rambly. I've been like, oh wait, what does this mean? Wait, no, what? But yeah, that's just basically my thoughts on weakness and stuff. And I probably sound like an idiot half this time. This is just me like just kind of spouting out stuff that's on my mind. I could be totally wrong about like most of this stuff. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's just something that's been on my mind for like the past, I don't know, hour. That I've been like, how do I talk about this? But yeah, probably post like something like Minecraft or something tomorrow. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.